Okay, hello everyone. Now today we're looking at solving quadratic equations using square roots. Okay, we've solved them a couple different ways, and we're going to solve them a couple more different ways. And this next one is just using square roots, okay? In today's objective, solve quadratic equations by taking square roots. See, it has two sides, it has a plus and a minus. All right? The essential question: how can square roots be used to solve quadratic equations? Okay. Guys, remember that solving a quadratic, what does that mean? It means to find the values of x when y is 0. So we can factor it, set each factor equal to 0, and find what x is when y is 0. All right? There are three kinds of quadratics we're looking at today. All right? The one where it's simply x squared equals some number, or where there's an a in front of that x squared equals some number, c again, or ax squared plus b equals c, okay? We're going to use square roots to solve any of these three types of problems. You notice none of these have a linear term, an x term, a term with just x. All right, the quadratic term, the x squared, is the one with the variable. All right, guys, here's an example. Solutions to, obviously, x squared equals 49. Guys, you can look right at it. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 49 is 7 or negative 7. Remember, negative 7 times negative 7, that equals 49, positive 49, okay? So it has two solutions, 7 and negative 7. All right? Guys, if we have something that says x squared equals negative 121, you might say, well, that's 121. I think that's the square root of 11. But that's wrong, guys. We cannot take the square root of a negative number. There's no real number that can be multiplied by itself and produce a negative number. Because when the signs are the same, the answer has to be positive. Okay? There's no real solution. All right? If the radicand in the number inside the house, if it's negative. All right, let's look at an example number 2 here, or 2a, where there's an a in front. All right, so 7x squared equals 112, something like that. Well, first divide both sides by 7. All right, so we get 16 equals x squared. We take the square root of x squared and the square root of 16. Again, this step right here, you take the square root of both sides. Once you isolate the x squared by itself, then you can take the square root of both sides. All right, 16 is a perfect square, so it's plus and minus 4. All right, another example. This says negative 3x squared in front equals negative 24. Now, the nice thing about it, when we divide by negative 3 both sides, we get a positive 8. All right. So we read x equals plus or minus the square root of 8. And we have learned we can simplify that from there. We shouldn't leave it just like that. That equals 4 times 2. All right, so the square root of 2 times 2. All right, we'll simplify that later. Also, guys, example 3, if there's another term here like plus b, all right, as an example, 3x squared minus 5 equals 22. Guys, first you have to add 5 to both sides. All right, then divide both sides by 3. And when we do that, we get x squared equals 9. And again, once you get x squared isolated on one side, take the square root of both sides. All right, in this case, you get plus or minus 3. Okay? Guys, this is an example using the Pythagorean theorem. And we're going to use that here today. Again, the Pythagorean theorem, if you remember, with a right triangle. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Each side squared added together equals the hypotenuse squared. All right, so we have a tower here. The height is x, and the guide wire is x away from the tower. So it's x squared plus x squared are the two sides. All right, the guide wire is 200 feet long, so that's 200 squared. Well, we want to find out what x is. Guys, add those together, you get 2x squared. All right, 200 squared is 40,000. Divided by 2, that's 20,000. Then you can take the square root of both sides. Again, plus or minus. As soon as you take the square root of both sides, put plus or minus on the side without the variable. All right? 100 times 100, so I can take 100 out. Guys, now this has a plus and a minus answer. Now in the real world, we know we can't have a negative distance. So the positive answer is the answer we're looking for in the real world, okay? Looks like it's approximately 141 feet. All right, guys, solving quadratics using square roots. This is a nice summary right here. Okay, you can take a look at that. Guys, please take a look at the homework check. We'll do it in class, but why don't you go ahead and complete it right now. And that's it. Thanks.